Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer, and I am here today with Vincent. We work at a company called Founders Workshop. Founders Workshop is a software development company. So, what we do is work with our clients who are all founders of their own companies to create the software they need to run their businesses. So Vincent is the CEO of the company, the Chief Executive Officer, and I am the Vice President of Operations. So today what we wanted to do is talk a little bit about how we got to these positions because we took very, very different roads to get to where we are. We are both executives in the company, and we both make decisions every day that help the company grow. But our backgrounds are really different, and that's part of what makes this team work really well. So I am going to let Vincent start, and I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about his education, where he went to school, what his degree was in, and then I'll tell you a little bit about mine. We'll talk a little bit about what Vincent's career path looked like, so how he got from being this guy fresh out of school to being the CEO. And then I'll tell you how I got to be fresh out of school to being the vice president. And then we'll talk about some of the challenges we've had along the way and just have a little bit of fun. So, Vincent, tell us where you went to school and what did you study?
Absolutely. I went to school at Florida International University. That's in Miami, Florida, and I studied computer science. And I actually went to school and got my degree in my late 20s. Before then, I worked in the family business, which was in Brooklyn. So I have an entrepreneurial background. An entrepreneur is somebody who owns their own business. And then I worked in a different unrelated field before I went to college in my late 20s. I went to school for computer science. I started working as a computer programmer, and I always had the ambition that I wanted to manage teams. So I started becoming a team lead. A team lead is somebody that manages several people. I then worked my way up to a director, which manages more people, and then eventually a vice president, and eventually a CTO. A CTO is the Chief Technology Officer, which I'm sure you've heard of before. After a while, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and be an entrepreneur and run my own business. So I started the development company about 11 years ago, which is Founders Workshop. And Founders Workshop helps other founders start their own business. So if you have an idea for a business, specifically a technology-related business that requires a web app or a mobile app, we help brand new founders create mobile apps and web apps so they can run their own business.
Thanks. Um, so as you can tell, Vincent's path to being CEO was pretty straightforward. He studied computer science. He had a lot of experience as a computer programmer before he started his own business. And then the business that he started was one that took advantage of his experience in a very direct way. So computer company, a software company. My path is a little bit more complicated and not quite so obvious. So my background is actually in history. I have a master's degree in history from the University of Florida, which, if you remember, Vincent went to school in Florida too. It's funny, we were in different parts of the state at different times, but we both came out of school in the same state, so kind of funny. So I have a history degree, I have a master's degree. I'm actually what's known as ABD, so that means all but dissertation. It means I did everything but write the dissertation to get the PhD. And the reason that I'm ABD is because I actually wanted to go into education. I wanted to be a professor. And that's what I did for a long time. So after I got my master's degree, I started teaching at college, and I taught at a college level for 17 years. And that was a big part of my life. There was a lot that I learned doing that. And a lot of that I bring to this job with the research and the critical thinking skills and the organizational skills and the goal setting and the people management, which is all a big part of my everyday life. While I was in education, I had an opportunity to start managing some projects. And so I became a project manager. And I did that for about 6 years. One of the fun things that I was doing as a project manager was helping to train people on new software platforms, specifically helping teachers roll out new software and then training them to run it and training students to use it. And after a while, I thought this is kind of silly because I'm training people to software. And what I really want to do is make software just work for people. So I decided that it was time to quit managing software implementation projects, like, the actual rolling the software out, and start working on software development projects, because that made a lot more sense. If you make the software work for people, then that's a whole lot less work for people. So I started working at Founders Workshop as a project manager. I eventually became the operations manager, and then the vice president of operations. So a project manager is someone who manages a project. Now, I know that's kind of stupid, right? It's a project manager manages projects. But a project manager is the person who figures out what needs to be done on the project, how the team needs to get that done, and then oversees the team so that they stay on budget, they stay on schedule, they get the goals met. It sounds pretty straightforward, and it is, but it's really complicated because when you have a group of people trying to get something done, it requires a whole lot of skills to make sure they stay on target. Operations manager is someone who's not necessarily running the project, but making sure that all of the projects are running the way that they're supposed to. So instead of just paying attention to one project or two projects, I had to pay attention to all of the projects. A vice president of operations goes up even one more level. And so a vice president of operations is the one trying to figure out how's the best way to get all of the goals accomplished. In my case, being the VP of operations means that I'm not just paying attention to the projects, but it means I'm paying attention to each team member. I'm paying attention to human resources, to finance, to payroll, to basically all of the pieces that make the company run on a day-to-day basis. Vincent, what does the CEO really do? I mean, what's that position? What are your major objectives every day?
As a CEO, my major objective is to set vision for the company. So what vision means is where we are headed as a company. When Bill Gates from Microsoft, everybody heard of Microsoft, first started out, his vision was a computer in every house. Now, this was before he even created any type of Windows. His objective was a computer in every house, and that was his vision. And a CEO must set a vision for the company. Then the CEO's other major objective is to lead everybody towards that vision. So that's the role of the CEO.
Thanks. And so as VP, my job is to basically take Vincent's vision and to turn that into something that is a guide. So he envisions where we're going, and my job is to implement how we're going to get there. And so in business circles, there's a concept called visionary and implementer. And so the vision's the one with the ideas, and the implementer is the one who figures out how that's going to get done. So that's really what Vincent and I do at Founders Workshop. Vincent, what has been the biggest surprise to you in this journey from being a kid to being a CEO?
The biggest surprise to me is, so I'm very much the type of person that when I have an idea, I like to move forward on it. And you'll find that a lot in business owners. They have an idea and then they move forward on it. They'll create a vision, they'll put a team together that will lead people. And I have done that for years now, but the biggest surprise is all the little details. A lot of the details I wasn't expecting. a lot of the nuances, or in business circles, what you call operations. So I wasn't expecting all the details. I was looking at the big picture, the big vision, and it's the little details that actually get you from point A to point B to your final goal. So it's really, really important to have that big vision. It's equally important to pay attention to all the details along the way.
Love it. Thank you. One of the biggest surprises I've had in my journey is that it, being a history teacher and being a vice president of operations don't sound like they're very similar at all, and yet they are. One of the things that I love about my career path is that I never anticipated the ways that I would use the knowledge I had or the experiences that I had. So every experience that I've had applies to every business decision that I have to make. And that was something I wasn't expecting, but it's been super fun when you can think about, oh yeah, I used to do this project with students a long time ago, and that really helps me understand how to solve this business question that's in front of me. Um, I didn't think that would happen, but it does every single day, and that's so much fun. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered, Vincent?
So the biggest challenge is the challenge that everybody's going to face when they start their own business or pursue any goal. So let me kind of step back, and this has to do with resilience. Um, there are a lot of people out there who are going to have an idea for a new business, a book to write, whatever it happens to be. A small amount of people are actually going to move forward with that idea. And out of those, a very, very small amount are going to follow through. And the reason why is that taking the big step of following your dream is really, really important. But once you start following your dream, you will run into challenges. Guaranteed 100% you're going to run into huge challenges. And most of the times, those challenges are going to be coming from where you least expect it. I had to learn a lot about accounting and finance, and I wasn't expecting that. As one of many examples. Right now, there's a huge economic crisis going on our planet. Nobody accounted for that. Whatever dream that you pursue, whether it's running your own business or writing a book, you will encounter problems over and over and over again. And those problems will seem mounting, and those problems will seem insurmountable, and you'll be like, I just want to quit. I can't get over this. But the important thing to remember is that you got to figure out a way around it. You got to figure out, do you go through it, over it, around it? Do you come up with a new idea? What do you do? But you absolutely will come into those issues. And right now, many small businesses are facing that issue with what's going on with the economy right now, which everybody is aware of. And a lot of them are being very creative on how to survive, how to make their business survive, as well as how to make their business thrive. So the number one thing I can tell you is that resilience is so incredibly important, because it's not a matter of if you're going to encounter an issue, it's a matter of when you encounter the issue and what you're going to do about it.
Very well said. I would just like to add to what Vincent said, two important things that I've learned during my career. One is just like he's saying, but in a different way, be brave, right? When I decided to change careers, it was scary and I wasn't sure how it would go, and I didn't know if I would succeed or fail. Every business owner who starts a new business, it's scary. They don't know if they're going to succeed or they're going to fail. Everybody who has an idea, whether it's an idea to paint a painting or to make a video game or to start a new business, it's scary. And you don't know if you're going to succeed or fail, but you have to be brave, because it's the only way you'll know for sure whether it succeeds or fails. And sometimes it's beyond your control, but what is in your control is how you decide to act every day, whether you decide to get up and keep going for it. So be brave. And the other thing is to be creative. As Vincent said, every day you're going to encounter problems, and they're going to come from places where you never thought Vincent had to learn accounting. I had to learn marketing. I didn't know that was a thing I would have to know how to do, but I did, and I learned it, and I'm pretty good at it. So being creative really is about figuring out how to solve this problem in a new way. So doing it the old way, doing it the same way of everything else, it's just going to give you boring results. But if you're creative, if you try to figure out, okay, how can I do this in a way that is different than my first thought, then you're being creative, and creativity gives you so many more options that you didn't even know were possible, and it gets exciting, and your creative juices get flowing, and you feel like you can tackle it. So it's a whole lot easier to be brave when you're being creative too, because then there's this sense of wonder, and you're like, "Ooh, will this work?" And so it's not about whether you fail or succeed, but it's about learning, and that's always a really cool way to go about your day every day, especially in business, right? Because in business,
Absolutely.
in business, you're going to make some mistakes, and that's okay, because every time you make a mistake, you can learn from it, and you get better, and you can get more creative, and you can be braver. So Vincent, if somebody was interested in being a software developer or starting their own business or being a CEO, what advice would you give them that they could start right now, even while they're a kid?
So if you want to be a software developer, the first thing that I recommend is learning how to code, obviously. And there's a lot of great resources online. There's a language called JavaScript, which is very accessible to most people. You can learn that language online. But let's talk about being a business owner, okay? If you want to be a business owner, I would say decide why you want to be a business owner, all right? Do you want to be a business owner because you don't want to work for somebody else? Do you want to be a business owner because you have a vision that you want to bring to life? What are the reasons you want to do this? And understand your why on why you want to do it. Because when you go through when you follow a path, whether that path is owning your own business, writing a book, creating a video game, getting your PhD, whatever it happens to be, understand that the most rewarding part of that is not when you achieve your goal, but on the journey of your goal.
Mm.
As I said, being a business owner, there are emotional highs and emotional lows that I would never ever have gotten just flatlined and not following my dreams. And those emotional lows, they don't feel good. Those emotional highs, they have to be tempered, but they give you a spectrum of what it's like to be a human. And you're able to get a better sense of who you are, and the journey itself is the reward. It's not the end goal, but it's the journey itself. I know that that Jennifer worked on her PhD, and the journey of working on that PhD was the entire experience, not the actual obtainment
Mhm.
of the PhD. And same thing being a business owner. You're gonna set yourself a goal, and hopefully you'll reach that goal, or you'll create a new direction for that goal. But it's not the goal you really care about. It's the journey along the way. So if you do want to write a book, or you do want to be a business owner, or you do want to get your PhD, understand why you're wanting to do it, and that's going to give you the momentum, the fuel, and the motivation along that hard journey the whole time.
Absolutely. And understanding the why helps you be more creative and helps you be braver as you go through that path, because you know why you're doing it. Um, there are a whole lot of different ways to get to where you want to go. And if you're watching this, one of the things I would like you to think about today is, what are some of the ways that you could get to that goal? Maybe you want to be a lawyer. Maybe you want to open your own business. Maybe you want to be a teacher. Maybe you want to draw comic books for a living. There are all kinds of ways that you can get to that. And sometimes it gets really easy to get stuck in, oh, well, this is how everybody's supposed to do it. And that's just silly. Be weird, be interested, commit to whatever's in front of you at the moment. Because if you understand where you want to go and you understand why you want to get there, every single thing you learn along the way is going to help you be the best version of yourself when you do get there.
Well said, Jennifer. Well
Oh,
said.
thank you. Hey guys, it was really great having a chance to talk to you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Vincent Serpico from Founders Workshop, CEO extraordinaire. I'm Jennifer, the VP of Operations. We look forward to seeing you another time. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.